a good man. And it's a dying breed today. It's a dying breed. There are not many in our nation anymore at all. Can I get a witness? Thank God that we do have in the Tornado Apostolic Church, we have a few good men here. And we can always grow, and we need more. Amen? Because what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to reach the world. We are supposed to preach to the world. And we are supposed to win the lost at any cost. The men thesaurus. Let's look at this. Men don't always say what they mean. We don't. As men, we don't always say what we mean. Now, we do talk in a straight line, but we don't always say what we mean. Okay, well, let's explain a little bit. Let's kind of translate in the way that we talk to the ladies, okay? So, when a man says it will take a long time to explain, what you're really saying is I have no idea how it works. When a man says take a break, honey, you're working too hard, he means I can't hear the game over the vacuum cleaner. When a man says that's interesting, dear, he means are you still talking about that? When a man says it's a guy thing, he means there is no rational thought pattern connected with this, and you have no chance of grasping any type of logic on this one. When a man says, can I help with dinner, he means, why isn't it ready yet? When a man says, oh, don't fuss, I just cut myself, it's not a big deal, he means, I have probably severed a limb, but I will bleed to death before I admit I'm hurt, so get over here and help me. What a man says, I heard you, what he means is, I haven't the foggiest clue what you just said, and I am hoping desperately that I can fake it well enough so that you'll not spend the next 3 days yelling at me. What a man says, you look terrific, he means, oh, please don't try on another outfit. We're late as it is. A lot of times they do look nice, but you know, we got to go. When a man says that's not what I meant, he means if something I said can be interpreted two ways and one of them makes you mad, I meant the other. Again, I like to thank God of the good men that's here. A good man, men who have learned to lean on the Lord. Proverbs 3:5 says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. Verse 6 says, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Ephesians 2, and we're going to talk about salvation. Ephesians 2:8-9. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God. Verse 9, not of works, lest any man should boast. We men are bad about trying to be in control. We are bad about trying to be in control at all points and all times to make things happen. Often ladies find it easier to rest in the Lord and lean on him for salvation because it's a part of a woman's nature. It's a part of her nature. You want to know why it's easier for a woman to intercede into the Lord? It's because she knows how to lean upon a figure, upon a man. And it's upon them, it's part of them to lean on someone else's hands. It's not that way with men, and is that fair? Well, let's look at it this way, what Jesus says about it, because Jesus solves the dilemma. Jesus says in Matthew 18:3, he said, verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. You shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Children have that attitude of trust. They have an attitude of trust. Amen? Even male children. Male children are led by their parents. They do have a teachable spirit. You're not always going to be in control. Man, you are not always going to be in control. And if you think you are, you better be careful because you're going to kill your wife. But children have that attitude. But something happens to us once we begin to feel even the slightest amount of thickness in our peach fuzz. Something happens. And I want to get to that tonight. This is going to be probably something that you've never heard. Maybe you have. But I'm going to tell you, we're going to get into this. What really happens to a man? We are going to get back to that in just a minute. But I want to start with this. I got to have you to understand some things before I can take you into the mind of a man. You see, man needs to be needed. When your wife holds you, there is no better feeling that you see. There's no better feeling for you. But when we are holding her, we have a sense of envy, just a little, because deep down inside, we feel like screaming too. You know when you're going through that problem, that situation, and she's looking and she's leaning upon you to be the one to have a guiding hand, and in your own spirit you're feeling like there's something else going on, and why can't I have someone to lean on? I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do here, but that, men, is when we pray. That's when we ask God. But I'm telling you that in our spirit there's a little bit of envy that comes in at this moment. And we feel like screaming too. We wonder if we would scream, who would catch us? If I was to fall, who would hold me? So we give to them what we secretly want ourselves. And then suck it up inside, because the one time that I really broke down and started to cry, I was really young, and they told me that big boys don't cry. Big boys don't cry. And when we are told that at a young age, don't expect us to change it at age 35. Because by then we are so far back into our cave that when you want us to express ourselves, we don't even know how. You see, when you say communication, the normal thought is it's words being expressed to one another. But for men, it's not always about language, but it's about signs, right? It's about that wink that you get, that tap on the shoulder, that look that she gives. And men, we grab hold of that, and we're happy about that. Why? Because we know how to live in our cave. We know how to go back to a cave. We're going to get there. But I want to take you somewhere here. You see, when a woman says to you that she cannot trust you, what she is saying is that he is cheating, or there is some sort of sexual perversion, and this is where a woman, she will draw the line. And can I tell you that a woman will pretty much follow you through anything in this world, no matter what you're going through, except for that. That is where she will draw the line. She'll stand right beside you as you come to her and say, I just robbed the 7-Eleven and the policemen are coming. And when the policemen get there and they knock on the door, she answers the door, and here's what she says: he's not here. A woman will just about follow you anywhere. But if he's been with another woman, she's going to kill you, bro. That's all there is to it. She's going to get you. Stop saying it's the sin of it. It's not the sin. We don't realize sin is sin. No matter what the sin is, it is sin. But it's not about that type of thing. It's not about just sin. No, you see, sin is, no matter how you slice it, it is sin, and it's not about that, but what it is about our values. This is what's in play in this issue, and it will kill a household, and it will tear the heart of not just the man, but also the woman. You can see the darkness of the issue. The values. What she values and deems the strongest thing and the strongest offense. value. When a man is saying to a woman, I can't trust her, he's not always talking about infidelity or that she is unfaithful, because men think about their hearts as women think about the outer things and the person that they are, the inner person. The hardest thing for a man to give is his heart. The absolute hardest thing for a man to give is his heart. Because if you break my heart, you've broken me. So we try to guard our hearts. You want proof? Proverbs 31:11. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. What that is saying, that I trust my heart. If I give her my heart, and if she breaks it, there's going to be spoil. There's got to be, let's keep going. Okay, so let's get there. It's really hard for a man to open up and be transparent and to let you know who we really are. It may take us years to get to that one moment of vulnerability and transparency. And in that moment, we speak of something that maybe we saw our mother do, or something that has happened to our father, or something that has happened to us in our childhood. And then now watch this. In a moment of anger, she goes back and grabs hold of that thing that you told her in that moment of vulnerability and uses it to win the argument, because we all know that they will try their very hardest to win. They want the last word. They want everything like that to happen. Amen? Now you see why I didn't want the women up here. But they will try everything to win, and they will reach into the treasure chest of your masculine soul. And in that moment, you've got to be careful not to shut down, because that is exactly what shuts down a man. Soon as he cannot trust his wife to be able to speak to her in confidentiality and in a vulnerable moment that he is in that moment is when trust is gone, and we go back into the cave. But that is what shuts down a man. And not only does it shut him down, but it rolls a stone in front of the dungeon that you, as a man, have placed for you to go into in the moments that you feel like you have been broken. In that moment when you stop communicating with her. And that's what a man means when he can't trust her. And if she goes to her mom or dad or her prayer partner or her family member, hey, let's even go just a step farther, even to her friends, about what is going on with you, you feel strongly about that as a woman does about adultery. And that's a man's thought pattern. Men, we speak a different language. Men, when women talk, they like to talk in circles. I'm telling you, and I'm going to show you here in just a minute. But you see, men, when a woman is complaining about the grass or the dishes or the laundry, she's really worried about something else. Maybe something that she's going through at work, maybe something that's going on in the house, maybe there's something else that's going on. If she's talking to you about grass, dishes, about clothes, it's because she's trying to get you to understand that she's needy right now. She's needing you, and in that moment, here's what you do. You need to go beside her, you need to sit down with her, and you need to communicate with words. But in that moment, she's really worried about something else. Something from back a little bit. She starts to talk in circles. You go and cut the grass or do something else that needs to be done. And when you're done with it, they're still mad. We've been there. We've done that. They're still mad about something. They don't tell you what was really wrong. But see, men communicate with words, and it's vital for us to do that. And don't raise your voice. It scares them. And when we raise our voice and it scares them, that is what puts them in their cave. You throw something, you scream at them. A woman is a female. She is feminine. She is not like a male. And when you throw or scream, it scares them. They go in a cave. Even if they are hollering at you, they ain't never going to tell you nothing. because their real mind is in the cave. Men, we talk in straight lines. You know, when you ask your wife for dinner, or what's for dinner, that's pretty much what we want to know. You want her to say chicken. You want her to say ribs. You want her to say soup. All right, well, let me take you into a mind of one. Then she says, well, I was looking in the cabinet and noticed there was nothing in there to cook, so I went to the grocery store and went to look, and oh, yeah, I went into Kroger's because I heard there was a sale going on in there, but the traffic was backed up, and it took me forever to get there. I can't believe it took me forever to get there. And then when I got there, I got to looking around, and I got some ice cream, I got some chips, and I got some pop to go with the chicken. And can you believe who I saw in there? Most of my family was in Kroger's, and man, I'm telling you, all the kids was there, and they was all running around, and I just had to get out of there as fast as I could. But I got the stupid chicken anyways, and I had to pay full price for it. Can't you just say chicken? I mean, I'm just saying. Can't you just say chicken? And you still don't think that they walk around in circles when they talk to you. Because, and there's a reason. We're going to get there. You see, women talk in feelings. Women talk in feelings, and men talk in facts. Men, we have to reach and get some of our feelings back so that we can communicate, because it's about both of you, not just you. It's about you and your wife, not you and my wife sometimes when I feel like giving her a little bit. Something you need to know is that this woman process thing, she thinks outwardly, and men process things innerly. So let's talk about that. Men, when something bothers us, the less we talk about it. And when you are really worried about something, you don't say anything at all. And as men, we have got to learn to communicate with words, because the less you speak, the more verbal she will become. And then the more verbal we both become, and the less you will say, and then it's too late. In this moment, your lid blows off the top of your head, and at this moment you start to scream and you start to throw things. This all could have been avoided if we could just communicate. But if we don't learn this vital part, tension starts to build. And the enemy, the devil, now let me let you hear what he's doing at this moment. The devil loves every minute of it. You're worried about something, and she's worried about something, and the devil has you fighting each other. What does the Bible say about that? In Mark 3:25, and if a house be divided against itself, the house cannot stand. And the devil's saying, I don't need half the demons I was going to use, because now they're going to kill each other. And he's laughing about it. The man goes into the cave, and she goes on a rampage, never knowing she is pushing him further into the cave. And men, we let it happen because we don't communicate, and we don't listen to what they have to say. It's not just about you, but it's about her just as much. She is your helpmeet. Oh, and her body does not belong to you. Her body belongs to her, and we are not to force them. Her body belongs to her. And if you want to put them into that cave even farther, you go right ahead and do that, because that's exactly what will get them there. So where do you go when it's your house that's on fire and you don't feel like you can go to anyone? Because as men, we wear a Superman suit and don't want to have anyone know that we're Clark Kent. Where do we need to go? We need to go to the inner man, and we need to know what to do. The inner man, we work a lot on the outer man. We lift weights, try to do cardio, we try to eat right. But what about the inner man? Men, we must learn to build up our souls from the storm of life, because when all hell is breaking loose, my muscles won't do a thing for me. The inner man must be one that says, I will do all that I can to make it better. I will not go deep into my cave. I will talk it out. I won't go to bed mad. I will learn to open up to God. I know He knows me, but I also know that He wants me to ask Him, a man that will listen when being spoken to, and that will try to fix and communicate well. Men, you may need to get to know them again. Your wife, you want to know one of the most vital things that you can do with your wife is to take her out on a date. And when you take her out on a date, you ain't going out on a date to be all sexual. You take her out on a date to speak words to her. You take her out on a date to get to know who she is. Because let me tell you, once they have children, they are a different person. And it's up to you to find out who they are. And the best way to do this is to take them on a date to get to know them. Not for a score. I hope you heard me. But we need to be able to communicate well with them. But make it about her. I understand relationships they're hard for men, but men, we can do it. And women train their entire life for relationships. They train their entire life. Barbie and Ken, right? Susie Homemaker, tea sets, and tea parties. They planned out their wedding before they even have a boyfriend. And we have to compete with that. And a man, when he gets married, sometimes it takes him 10 years to realize what he's done. But men, what we do and what we do well, and this is where I want to get to, is we play games. We play games. This is why I hope you grasp this. It's vital. Men play games because games have rules. They have the potential of winning and to score points. And anything that has rules and scoring and winning in it, men like to do well. Football, basketball, baseball, hockey, any kind of game where you can score. That's why men starts at a young age. And they start when they start dating, he calls it scoring. That's one of the reasons. Why is that? Because he thought relationships were a game. Because guys, we play games well. That's why we go to work and make money. Let me tell you, your money is, for most men, it's how we keep score. We fight for raises and for more and more to up the score. We would gladly hand it over to the woman because it wasn't about the money to him. He just wants to score points with her. Now, outwardly, you might be saying, I'm working for that money. And yes, we are working to be able to pay for bills and things of that nature. But I'm telling you, if the woman wanting something, needing something, I guarantee you you'll give her money. And if you don't, she knows how to cut you off. Right? Why? Because she knows how to talk in circles. And she knows how to get you. Usually our wives are the only ones that can. Usually it is. How am I saying that? Because usually we'll go back in our cave. That's the one person that knows how to get us in our cave. Amen? All right, so If we understand that and we gladly hand it over to a woman, it wasn't about the money, but he just wants to score points. This is how we play the game, and we play it well. The only problem is when somebody changes the rules of the game, and you might be sitting there thinking to yourself, as men, I don't play games. It ain't a game thing. Well, let's continue. So the man can't score points anymore. He gets frustrated. And he starts losing. And when a man starts losing, he starts dying because we can't figure out what went wrong. As men, do we not try to figure out what's going wrong? If you can't score points with your wife, is that not what you start doing? What am I doing? What am I doing wrong? What's going on? You try to figure it out. Why? Because it's game to us. It's something that we have to score points, and we've stopped scoring points. And we become frustrated, and we become hard to deal with ourselves when we can't get points. But when he starts losing, he starts dying. You can't figure out what's wrong. You can't score points anymore. And he's not winning anymore. And she don't understand that's what's happened. Let's talk about her son now. Back when we was kids. She didn't know that that's what happened to her son a long time ago. He was in the house. It was simple rules. Eat your cereal, say your prayers, kiss your mommy, good night, and go to bed. Here's your reward. You're a good boy. Points. You're a good boy. So he did really good till he got 8 or 9 or so. Then he went out there on a little basketball court with all those mismannered rules that his mommy taught him. And he said, when you all get done playing, and he went to the boys, and he says, when you all get done playing with the basketball, can I have a turn? That's when the boys said, you sissy, and slapped the glasses right off his face. And he starts to cry, and he comes home to mama. But he's not crying from the slap. He's crying over the confusion. Because somebody changed the rules of the game. And he can't figure out how to score points. And his self-esteem starts to come down. And suddenly he is left with a choice. Do I play by mama's rules and score points or at home? Or do I play the rules of the game that they're playing and gain points with them? So he looks to his new friends for guidance and to direct him through the traffic of masculinity. And he chooses and he says to himself, at least I'm hanging with the boys. And he ends up calling them his gang. And later on it becomes his family. Even if it's church. Later on it becomes his family. And he becomes more loyal to them than he is his own family because he is trying to figure out how to score points again. Mama don't understand why he's so angry and frustrated, and it's because he is torn between two lovers. He's torn between two lovers, and he can't figure out how to win the game. And men, anytime you can't figure out how to play the game, you become bitter, you become angry, you become confused, and you become controlling. See, men, we measure everything, and it's all about points. And men, we're not immortal. We may think we are. We may feel like we're the toughest one out there, but I'm telling you, there's somebody bigger and badder that will pull you down and that can break you. And we are not immortal. And we try to figure out what is going wrong with our back, and maybe the doctor tells you that you're aging. And boy, that's a hard whammy. I've had that. And I ain't that old, but I've already had that. But he's telling you that you're aging, and all of a sudden he he then has hypertension. We have hypertension or maybe diabetes, and he begins to panic because everything that he has loved about himself is starting to fall apart, and he panics about it. And he tells nobody about it and lies to his friends as if he's still the same man that he used to be. And men, we camouflage to our wives as much as we can. You know how it is when you roll over and say, I'm tired, I'm stressed out. But in reality, we go through a change, and maybe nobody spoke anything to you when you was going, or when you was a young man, when they was going through the change. And as men, we feel alone in that moment in time. And you are looking for someone to love you. You're looking for someone to care about you. You're looking for someone to give you gratification and to give you points. Can I tell you that when we camouflage to her, and that we do all of these different things, and nobody has spoken to us about the change, we then feel alone. And it's not good for a man to feel alone. He will play a game where he scores points. A man will play a game where he scores points. Men, is in this time, it is vital to listen clearly to her. It's vital for you to listen clearly to her and to try to work it out, to grasp and to grasp hold of her, because the grass is not greener on the other side. She was given to you, and it's up to you to communicate with her and use words, because she wants and needs you to talk to her. It's not just for you and her, but it's your children who needs to see your communication with your wife. If a kid does not see communication, all they see is screaming and hollering, I can guarantee you that when they are grown, that is exactly how that they will treat their wife and the mother that's in their life. Listen, screaming, hollering, it causes confusion. It causes chaos. It causes you to bring down and tear down barriers. I hope this is helping somebody. But arguing's got to stop. And the way that you do is to learn to communicate. So we talk about men. We talk about strength. And I'm almost done. Isaiah 40:30 says, even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. Verse 31 says, but they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Become one of those men. Become one of those men that God is actually looking for. One of the few that, as Moses went up and they was looking into Sodom and Gomorrah trying to find one person that was to follow God, and they could find none. Let there be someone that will stand in the gap. Let there be a true man of God who will learn and will lean on his wife as the helpmeet. Somebody hear me. They are not a trophy. They're your help. And never cut the legs off of your help. Never cut the arms off of your help. And for sure, never cut the head off, because men, your wives will be able to keep you out of some real tough stuff. Because us men, sometimes, we don't realize what's going on, and the wife sees it. You must listen to her in these moments. Because Ezekiel, again, 20:30 says, and I sought for a man among them that should make up the hedge and stand in the gap before me for the land, that I should not destroy it. But I found none. Let God find men of courage in this place. You know how hard it is for a man to say, I'm wrong? It's real hard. I know I'm a man, and it's hard for me to say I'm wrong sometimes. And I admit that. And I would admit that to my wife. I'm not perfect by any means. I know I'm not perfect, but God gave me this, so I figured I would give it to you. So if God gave it to me, guess what that means? Somebody's getting a hold of this tonight. So who is the men of courage? Who wants to be there? Remember when we came up here and we signed those papers? Remember that a while back, us men that did that? We need to be men that are willing to help and fix and listen, and most of all, to communicate. David, you that's in this room, you might have had a lot of mess. You might have done a lot. You might have broken a lot of rules, but David, one thing about you is you know how to find God. It wasn't about his failures, but it was about his victories that made him who he was. His failures he knew not to do again. And then he would find a different way to fail. But understand, what did God say about David? He had his heart. Understand tonight who you are. And understand that you are men. And that you are masculine. And that you are all these different things. But don't be masculine and scare your wife to a place that she goes in the cave. But learn to communicate with her. Let us stand. Brother Dale.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. I wonder if we could just raise our hands and ask God to help us to receive this word today. Hallelujah. You may not have been doing it right all along, but you're still together. He's a God of second chances, and apparently your wife is a wife of second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh chances. And today could be a new day. Maybe you haven't been doing it right. Hey, maybe you've been doing some things and you're just not sure how to handle it. Brother Derek just gave us some good instruction tonight how to handle some things. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Let's just continue to pray and ask God to help us tonight. Hallelujah. Yes, it is hard for us to admit we're wrong. Hallelujah. Sometimes it's hard for us to admit we're wrong to God. And this word tonight is from the Lord. And I don't, like I said many times, I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't know how your relationship is with your spouse. But you know, and God knows. And God can fix it. Hallelujah. Glory to the name of the Lord. We praise you, Jesus. Hallelujah. Early on, a lot of what Brother Derek said, I was. And it come to the point, I said, God, I want to have a close relationship with my wife. I got to the point, I was tired of being Mr. Tough Guy. I knew I needed my wife. I knew I needed her. And I was tough. I didn't need nothing. I'm the man. I don't need you to baby me. I've got this. That's the way I was in my younger days. When I got older, you learn a few things. One, you learn you're a little fragile than you think you are. We're immortal. You learn that. I started on that in my mid-30s. I know it's going to get worse. It's getting worse as the 8 years go by. But today, I'm proud to say, me and my wife, we have a closer relationship than we ever had in our lives. But we had to go through some things. I said, Lord, I want to be close to my wife. I want to be close to her. I know I'm not close to her. We started going through some things. That wasn't what I wanted. I did not want to go through that. Because you know why we had to go through some things? We had to fix the first few years of our marriage. I had to fix some things. She had to fix some things. Because I was very unwise early. And that's why we had to go through some things. We had to tear down some barriers. When I say barriers, I don't mean good barriers. I mean walls that she put up, walls that I put up. We had to tear them down. And God knew the walls. But But God did speak to us tonight. God spoke to us. And the two young men, yes, it's going to have its ups and downs. Yeah, Ethan, you. Yeah. And Nate. Sometimes Emily will say, I don't know if I want to get married. I said, you don't know life until you get married. I know that's crazy coming from a man, but that emotional connection with a woman is wonderful. I'm sorry. You may think I'm crazy. You may call me sissy, and that's all right. But that emotional connection with a woman is wonderful. Even the fighting. Sometimes it's good to fight. It's not a good idea to do it in front of your children. You want to do it behind closed doors. And let me throw this out there. You don't want to discuss bad things about your church in front of your children. You know my children would say, this is a good church. You know why? Because when I go home, me and my wife have problems. Somebody here's bothering me or the leadership's bugging me. I talk to my wife alone. I don't want my children to backslide when they get older because they think the church is an awful place. So remember that. Thank you, sir. That was needed today. We do like to score points. And not points just for that. Sometimes that's appropriate. But if that's the only time you score points, guess what? She's going in a cave. She's going in a cave. And that's not going to happen. It's just us men up here. If you're only after one thing, guess what? It's not going to happen. When you take her out on a date, say, I expect nothing from you. Tell her that. I expect nothing from you, even if it's been a long time. And most men know exactly what I'm saying. It's just us men. Even if it's been a long time, I'm going to be the one that's selfless tonight. I'm going to be selfless if as much as I need that. I'm going to be selfless. Maybe this is too much information. I don't know. We're men. That's right. I know that's hard. We're men. I know that's hard. And this needs to be said. We're men. There's no women up here. Even these young men need to hear it. It's not about that. It's not all about that. We need to learn it now. Hallelujah. I'll be quiet. I've probably said enough. Most people don't want two messages. It takes time. It takes time to learn. Yes, she does. That's right. Otherwise, they just feel like a trophy, or they feel like they're not something of value without being rude. That's right. I've had to have conversations. That's right. I've had to have conversations with my oldest daughter. I said, all men's not that way. I told her, I have never cheated on your mother. I have never cheated on your mother. I told her, I'm just going to be transparent. I had an opportunity to cheat. This one woman at the work I used to be at, apparently us men, when I was younger, I didn't have my facial expressions very well. Apparently she can see that I thought she looked good. So she took advantage. She didn't know. I didn't notice she knew. I thought she looked good. She read my face. And you know what she started doing? She started smelling good for me. When I would come around the corner, you know what she'd do? She'd fix you with her hair. You better watch yourself. And I told my daughter, I said, I could have. I had an opportunity if I would have went after it. But I said, I love your mother, and I love you. You got to remember that. This will affect your children if you do this. So remember that. It's not all about that. It's about the heart. It's about your love for them, the same as Jesus loved the church. He died for them. Hallelujah. I hope you got something out of this. Didn't mean to have lesson 2. Brother Dick said all that needed to be said tonight. And yes, we're men. Yes, we're tough. But when you get married, the toughness has got to deplete some when it comes to your wife. And it doesn't mean if you go off that's end of the world. We're human beings. Usually when we go off, it's because we haven't stopped and talked to God, or we haven't went and talked to another man that we trust. That's not going to tell everybody everything. It's good to have at least one other person to tell something to. That way, you can blow off steam, and you don't go home and take it out on your wife. That's right. Communication. Even if you don't know what to say. I mean, I have an awesome wife because, 9 times out of 10, she's not going to treat me like I'm stupid when I'm trying to communicate because she wants me to communicate. Now, I don't know if all wives are that way. Some wives will treat me like they're stupid, they're stuttering, and they're trying to express themselves. That's right. That's right. That's right. It works both ways, earning each other's trust. Hallelujah. How many got something out of that? You appreciate what Brother Doug said tonight? Even as it's been made for a long time? Got something out of that tonight. Thank you, sir. Hallelujah. Can't think of any. Oh, we had announcements. Did you already make the announcements? Well, if you already announced it, everybody probably already heard it. Just got a text my wife, we're done. Contest. If you want to be counted for the Easter contest, you turn it in tonight. As far as I know, no one's turned in anything. One person that had 20 points. Okay. Sister Pat probably could have had 20. I don't know. I don't know how you guys are counting them. But hallelujah. Thank you for coming. Sorry for keep on talking. I know we don't like for people to someone get up here and continue to talk. But just wanted to add something to that. Hallelujah. Let us pray. Thank you for coming. And let's all show up to the rally this coming Friday. Lord Jesus, we love you. We thank you for your many blessings. We thank you, Lord, for all you have done. We thank you for your word tonight. Help us, God, to be men of courage. Help us, God, to do the right things in the moments of truth when we're not thinking clear, Lord Jesus. Help us, God, to learn to come to you. Hallelujah, when we don't know what to do. When our heart is overwhelmed, lead us to the rock that's higher. And you are that rock, Jesus. You are our security, and you are our hope. And yes, God, we want to earn points with you because we love you, Lord, and we want you to love us, Jesus. And I pray, Lord, help us to get this word in our heart tonight, Jesus, of how we should be according to your word.